Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Please reach out to me directly. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com for pricing details. Today, we're discussing the Cartier Rotonde de Cartier Astrotourbillon, launched in 2010. This was on the vanguard of a new generation of high-mech Cartier watches following the end of the CPCP program in 2008. Cartier, out of its new manufacture in La Chaux-de-Fonds and under the director of watchmaking genius Carol Forestier-Casapi, launched into a period between 2008 and 2015 when Cartier pushed the limits of high horology, including with complications. That era ended with Cartier's resolution to return to entry-level and mid-priced luxury watches after 2015. So this watch is part of an era of grandeur that may not soon be replicated at the king of jewelers and the jeweler to kings. So let's talk about what we get with this Rotonde de Cartier Astrotourbillon. All in white gold. It's a substantial 47 millimeters in diameter. It's 14.8 millimeters thick. It's 52.8 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip. And it has a broad and intermediately sized 23.5 millimeter strap between the lugs. On my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, it actually wears just fine. I could wear this because the lugs are short, stubby, and sharply downturned. You're not going to want to wear it on a smaller wrist, but could I pull this off? Yes. And it's surprisingly slim on the wrist. With a domed and sloped case flank, it will actually slide underneath most cuffs. You're not going to want to wear this on a wrist smaller than 16 centimeters, but 16 can pull it off just. It is heavy. For folks who like a luxury watch to be heavy, to make the price self-evident in the hand or on the wrist, well, this watch achieves that. The strap is luxurious. It's equal to the billing of the timepiece. Large rectangular scale alligator leather, matte finish, black. You can see there's a monotone stitch and a folded edge. It's stuffed and bolstered to give it volume, and for security, screws and bars are used to fit the strap to the case. So no spring bars here. You wouldn't want them, and the risk they entail on a watch this heavy and expensive. The screws and bars setup is the right one. There's a taper to the strap, and you can see on the underside it uses calfskin. It is a brand new Cartier factory strap. It doesn't actually have holes in it because it doesn't use a conventional pin buckle inside the deploying clasp. This is the direct descendant of the folding clasp that Louis Cartier created back in 1909 for Cartier wristwatches. It was by a mile the first deployant clasp, and this is a direct descendant of that one. Now we have a system whereby the strap actually tucks into the clasp and then tucks under the clasp. So there's a tuck and cinching system that keeps everything closed up and then hides the excess length underneath the clasp body. So there's no need for minder loops on the strap. These are minder loops. You don't need them here. And there's no excess length visible because it tucks underneath the strap. So we get a nice white gold clasp, a strap to match the billing of the watch, and then a sensational case. This is the Rotonde de Cartier. For some reason, through that period from 2009 through 15, when Cartier was rolling out high-mech watches every single year, it seemed that a proportional imbalance of them were launched in the Rotonde de Cartier case, maybe just because its regular volume made it easier as a packaging, as a vessel for complications than something like a tank or a Centre or a Crash. And that may be the case. The case, by the way, has wonderfully sharp splits between lugs and caseband. That is sensational stuff. That looks like the kind of effect you get with welded lug profiles. Everything's in high polish, and in case you're wondering, yes, this is gray gold, the white gold that never needs to be rhodium plated and is white straight through. We have a sapphire blue cabochon with a beaded crown, a nice vintage touch, and that vintage flourish gives way to modernity. There's a flange outboard featuring the minutes and seconds. We have a 1 minute orbital Astrotourbillon. Then at center we have a traditional Cartier rosette guilloché pattern with blued broadsword hands for the hour and minute. You can see there's a little Cartier secret signature down at Roman numeral 7. And then we have a sunburst pattern on the hour track, you can see that the hour track is surrounded by another rosette type guilloché, and then there's more rosette underneath the elevated platform for the hands. If you look carefully, you can see the operation of the mechanism that drives this tourbillon. This is not a conventional tourbillon. The third wheel of the drivetrain actually provides the energy and the torque to move the mechanism. And if you look carefully, you can see that the anchor and the escape wheel, they're not actually coaxial with the balance. This isn't a conventional rotating tourbillon that spins on its own axis, and it's not a conventional orbital tourbillon which spins on its axis and rotates the dial. This is an escapement that changes its orientation as it rotates 360 degrees around the dial. This is the only tourbillon I've seen of that type, but it achieves the same effect of varying the position of the hairspring, which is the primary purpose of a tourbillon, to make sure that the hairspring is not sitting static in the hopes of equalizing the effect of gravity on the escapement. Now, the watch is manual wind. It uses Cartier manufactured caliber 9451 MC. You can see it's a twin mainspring barrel. It has a 48-hour power reserve. It beats away at 21,600 vibrations per hour. It has that unique Astro tourbillon. It pivots on 23 jewels. And you can see that the finishing is impressive. There's not a lot that you could see on the dial side, but the finest finishing on the movement is on the tourbillon carriage itself, which includes everything you could possibly desire, from black polish to mirrored anglage to satination. And then you flip it all over and you can see Côte de Genève across the bridges. We have also that mirrored anglage that you like to see on the edge of bridges on high horology watches, and black polished screw heads. We also have satination on the wheels and a lovely solarization, including double solarization on the two mainspring barrels. There's also a little bit of visible engine turning underneath the click. It is quite impressive, and again, all of this is 30 meters water resistant. If you want something truly rare, something that lives up to the early 20th century billing of Cartier when it was anything but mass market, this is that. A watch rarely produced and rarely seen that yields nothing to anyone, not even in the Richemont group that contains Lange and Vacheron. True high horology from Cartier. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for pricing.